Saya tak boleh nampak Dr. Khaizer. Macam mana? Dr. Khaizer off video ke? Ke macam mana?
Video saya on. Okay.
On. Okey, nampak. Baik, kita mula. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih kepada para peserta yang sedang menyertai sesi webinar kita pada pagi ini. Hari ini kita mula awal awal 1 jam, pukul 9 sehingga pukul 10, dan sesi seterusnya akan bermula pada jam 10.30 sehingga 11.30 pagi. Jadi ini untuk memberi laluan kepada peserta-peserta yang beragama Islam untuk menunaikan solat Jumaat. Seterusnya, terima kasih juga kepada panel kita daripada UPM, panel kita daripada UPM, Cik Muhammad Khaizer, Cik Muhammad Khaizer Omar, Dr. Muhammad Khaizer Omar. Saya moderator anda, Syafizwan Nizam dan Muhammad Faroque. Sesi ini bersama-sama saya adalah Dr. Muhammad Khaizer Omar daripada UPM. Untuk makluman, sesi kita pada hari ini adalah sesi ke-9 pelaksanaan siri webinar kita yang bertajuk Digitalisasi TVET Meneroka Norma Baharu. Sesi pada pagi ini adalah merupakan sesi yang pertama bagi hari ini, dan sesi yang ke-25. 25 siri dah kita buat, 25 sesi. Daripada keseluruhan 39 sesi yang telah kita rancang sehinggalah ke tarikhnya 24 Jun 2020 nanti. Jadi secara kumulatifnya, daripada rekod yang kami ada, kita telah memperolehi ataupun seramai 8,000 orang peserta telah pun menyertai sesi-sesi webinar kita yang telah diadakan setakat ini. So kita harapkan akan ada peningkatan lah dari segi penyertaan, terutamanya dalam sesi ini dan sesi-sesi yang seterusnya. Jadi teruskan bersama kami dalam sesi ini dan juga sesi-sesi kita yang akan datang. Tak lama dah, minggu depan dah habis. Jadi jangan lepaskan peluang. Jadi baiklah, untuk sesi kita pada pagi ini adalah bertajuk, sekejap saya semak tajuk. Okey, sesi kita pada pagi ini adalah bertajuk Pengaplikasian perisian Plotagon bagi pembelajaran imersif. Okey, yang akan disampaikan oleh Dr. Muhammad Khaizer bin Omar, pensyarah kanan Fakulti Pengajian Pendidikan Jabatan Pendidikan Sains dan Teknikal Universiti Putra Malaysia. Dari kita import ni daripada UPM. Jadi sebelum tu izinkan saya perkenalkan panel kita pada pagi ini. Seperti yang tertera, saya jumpa dia punya CV dalam laman web UPM. Jadi itu yang tertera, itu CV pembentang kita pada pagi ini. Saya bacakan sedikit biodata beliau. Beliau merupakan graduan PhD dari Oklahoma State University Stillwater, Amerika Syarikat dalam bidang pendidikan kerjaya. Kajian beliau adalah tertumpu kepada pendidikan teknikal dan latihan vocational, TVET, sangat dekat dengan kita, dan service learning. Pendidikan awal beliau adalah peringkat sijil dan diploma dalam bidang kejuruteraan mekanikal di Politeknik Malaysia. Politeknik mana tu, Doktor?
Politeknik Shah Alam dan Politeknik Ungku Omar.
Oh, Politeknik Shah Alam dan Politeknik Ungku Omar. Sebelum meneruskan pengajian ke peringkat ijazah dalam bidang TVET, pengkhususan dalam kejuruteraan mekanikal di Universiti Tun Hussein Malaysia. Beliau merupakan seorang graduan sarjana sains dari Universiti Putra Malaysia dalam bidang TVET. Beberapa kajian telah dijalankan berkaitan dengan bimbingan guru dan induksi serta service learning dengan rakan-rakan penyelidik, meluaskan pengalaman beliau sewaktu pengajian di peringkat PhD beliau. Beliau merupakan pemegang beasiswa 3 tahun berturut-turut, iaitu daripada tahun 2013 sehingga 2016 sebagai Distinguished Graduate Scholarship dan Lloyd L. Wiggins beasiswa endowment, membuktikan kualitinya sebagai seorang pelajar siswadah. Ini semasa beliau belajar di peringkat PhD. Tesis beliau bertajuk Kepuasan Kerja dan Retensi Career Switches telah dibentangkan dalam konferens ACTER, Persidangan Penyelidikan Utama khusus untuk bidang pendidikan kerjaya dan teknikal. Jadi itu sedikit sebanyak profil ataupun biodata tentang pembentang kita pada hari ini. Jadi sebelum saya serahkan kepada panel kita untuk sesi pembentangan beliau, jadi saya ingin sekali lagi memaklumkan bahawasanya kita akan ada sesi Q&A di hujung sesi pembentangan ini, dan di samping itu sepanjang semasa pembentangan dijalankan, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan boleh juga menghantar soalan melalui ruangan Q&A just ada button di bawah tu Q&A, tekan button tu dan juga typekan soalan anda pada kami, dan sekiranya ada masa, ada waktu-waktu bersesuaian, saya akan cuba bacakan soalan-soalan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Jadi namun sekiranya tidak ada kesempatan, kita tetap akan ada sesi Q&A di hujung sesi pembentangan nanti. Jadi saya rasa kita sudah 9-8 minit dan hari ini kita masa kita agak tight. Jadi saya rasa tanpa membuang masa, saya jemput Dr. Muhammad Khaizer bin Omar untuk menyampaikan sesi pembentangan beliau. Silakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera. Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada Mr. Moderator. Before I start my presentation, I would like to extend my gratitude and thankfulness to Bahagian Instructional dan Pembelajaran Digital JPPKK because sudi menjemput saya untuk membuat pembentangan. As you can see from my slides, is it okay if I conduct my presentation bilingual? So because my presentation slide is mostly in English.
Go ahead, Doctor. That's fine.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to take this opportunity. Perhaps my audience today, maybe some of them are my lecturers back in 2003 at Polytechnic Shah Alam, 2004 in Polytechnic Umpoma, and I feel grateful because of this opportunity. Hopefully there's something that I can share with you. I am blessed by Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. I started my education at Polytechnic and started growing my education journey to UTHM, UPM, and finally completing my doctorate degree at Oklahoma State University. So I've been in graduation ceremonies for 5 times. So anyone who can challenge me, come and sit down with me, especially those who are planning to do your master's degree, your doctorate degree, you may come and see me, and I'm trying my best to assist you. And TVET is very close to me, and most of the time in the US, they call TVET as career and technical education. It's just a term that they use to represent career education in general, but satu bidang yang closely related to technical and practical base, pembelajaran secara hands-on, service learning. So that's all about it. So for today's presentation, before we go further on the Plotagon application, the software, I would like to start my presentation with a brief introduction about what is about immersive learning. So the topic of my presentation heavily emphasized on immersive learning. So because of the pandemic, the crisis of COVID-19, so how we as an educator would transform our teaching and learning practices into something that is unprecedented. So it is something that we need to cope, and we need to adjust ourselves to the existing environment. So okay, so let me move to my first slides. So hopefully from this webinar, I hope we can discuss together what are the issues related to TVET learners, and I will introduce on the immersive learning ecosystem. Why is it so important to immerse students with our teaching and learning practices? And finally, I will demonstrate the use of Plotagon for teaching and learning. And for your information, if I want to hands holding everyone to use the Plotagon application, it will take like perhaps 1 day. So we only have 1 hour. So can you imagine how can we finish, utilizing this software in 1 hour? So hopefully I will help you to perhaps exercise at your own pace, perhaps use your own convenient time to demonstrate the use of Plotagon, at home in a remote, remote environment. So let's start with some of the issues. We know that as a TVET educator, we are more convenient of face-to-face meeting with students, having like a physical interaction, what we call as a traditional learning method, which is more on conventional. So because of the change of the learning ecosystem, and it is so a surprise to see that educators need to change, transform themselves, especially those who are TVET educators, to teach using a virtual platform. So how can we as an TVET educator, becomes an educational influencers? We know that TVET education streamline, it is quite challenging, in terms of providing the knowledge in producing knowledge in terms of practical and hands-on approaches. So because of the scenario, we are in dilemma actually. How can we ensure that the TVET learning ecosystem is still happening during this pandemic, and how can we strengthening our curriculum, how can we strengthening our content knowledge on TVET, and how can we cope with the needs of 21st century skills requirement. So whether we like it or not, we need to produce some strategies. We need to be more creative. We need to be more critical. One of the option will be the use of technology. Definitely, some of us might hinder to use technology because we are so close with our students. We feel that we can work well with our students, meeting, hands holding together, work together in a lab or workshop. However, during this time, we have no choice. So by optimizing the technology, the existing technology will help us at least to deliver the content knowledge and instruction using an online platform. So one of the issues, if we can reflect back on the news of students, one student in the east of the Malaysia, she had to climb a tree just to take a final exam, online exam. So it is a challenge to us, and as a passionate educator, it definitely memberikan kesan, is very very close to our heart, where we enable to help students to learn. So having technology, having accessible to online, accessible internet connection, it is those kind of instruments, those kind of facilities that is a must in a current environment, especially learning environment. So we need to make sure no one is left behind when it comes to learning process. Okay, so those kind of issues are really really significant in our situation. So when I ask my students, in what ways your learning environment get disrupted, for your information, I teach TVET stream and some of postgraduate program. I posted an open-ended questions, and it comes with these reasons why what are the elements that disrupt students when it comes to learning. So of course, the biggest word that appear in this word cloud show that the internet connection, as well as the environment, and then some of the problem related at home, living with siblings, very hard to focus, But the biggest word here is about the internet connection. So, perhaps we need to consider this when we conduct an online learning. So, this is very, very significant, especially meeting with students face to face is no longer available to us. Okay, so this is my suggestion. Before we go on Plotagon and understand the immersive learning, there are two elements that we need to take place. How can we teach students, especially those who are enrolling in TVET subject matters from home, from remote environment? So, multimodality and authentic learning experience. Okay, so though these two elements are very close, especially those who are in a Tibet area. So let's do what does it mean by multimodality and authentic learning experience. So multimodality is a plural form of modality. So modality by explicitly is a representation of form, representation of information. So multi means plural, so it's representation information in more than two mediums. So at least we make sure that in order to transmitting knowledge, in order to deliver knowledge to students, we combine two or more different modalities. This bilateral relationship between in and output means that the role of educator as the deliverer and the students as recipient of the knowledge. So we need to ensure that the integration takes place. Okay, more than two of these modalities. So make sure that the students and educators have some connection when it comes to a learning process. Then we need to somehow consider what kind of technologies, what kind of technology that would be available out there, and the interaction takes place. And of course, we need to ensure that the learning experience benefit to both parties, the educator and the students. We know that virtual reality and augmented reality, it's no longer, uncommon to people. So I asked my Chinese student from mainland China. They told me that virtual reality glasses are easily, is available in the market, and it's very, very cheap. So it's affordable for them to purchase and use it for learning environments, learning instruction. And multi-dimensional acquisition is more of how we conduct assessment and evaluation. We need to be more flexible when it comes to, assess and evaluate our students' performance. We know that in TVET we are heavily emphasized on formative evaluation. We want to make sure that the students learn, throughout the semester, throughout the program, and during this time we strictly try to understand that the students learning at their own pace. If we able to meet them, that means that we know that in what stage they are performing. So when it comes to assessment and evaluation for formative, so you need to consider this kind of criteria. And then representation and interactions, how can we interact with students? We need to make sure that we are available 24/7, by interact with students. And the representation of the information, would it be too difficult? Would it be too much for the students? Those kind of things that we need to consider. And of course, in Tibet stream, we need to consider the sensory, the motor skills. How can we ensure that the students exercise their motor skills during this pandemic, using virtual classroom, virtual platform? So we need to embed the use of AR. We request students to, to demonstrate, to build their AR model, for example, at home, so they can experience the real life of, a product or project that they want to do. And of course, perceptual experience, facilitating accessibility of sensory, again about the sensory and motor skills. And finally, they can come up with the modeling types of assignments project. That's more multi-modality all about. So I move forward for the authentic learning experience. Of course, in Tibet, we need to make sure that the learning experience is authentic. So how can we ensure that the authenticity happen in the process of teaching and learning using online platform? So we need to make sure that authentic learning experience that the student have must consume natural experience. So which we can, develop using like artificial, like a stage type of presentation. So we need to make sure that the authenticity is, pulled by the educator. We as an educator must ensure that whatever the knowledge that we give to our student is authentic, is a true knowledge. And we need to practice this in a cultural form, which is we cannot highly depending on Google just to search for information. We as an educator not only facilitating them, but also we need to make sure that the knowledge that we gather, the knowledge that we learn is authentic. So that's the role of 21st century Tibet educator. So definitely we cannot do meeting face to face, having the development of the project in the lab and workshop, but we can arrange this in a virtual platform by having a group interactions, project-based, industrial project, and reflective task, which is more of the role of the educator. So what I'm doing right now to my students, more of a video tutorial. I ask them to produce a video tutorial and then post in their own website. And then it is more of a student-centered learning approach. So therefore, I'm experimenting this for this semester, and I look forward for the output. All right. So the learning experience, we know that in Tibet streamline, we emphasize on progressive approach. What do I mean by progressive approach? We hold that the students, this is something that many scholars argued, especially on Tibet streamline. We believe that Tibet is more of objective based, but I would like to tweak a little bit. Of course, we can assess and evaluate our students in the final exam form, objective based, but I would prefer in progressive approach, we look forward for the student potential. We develop their skills, we develop their talents in order to meet with the employment market, employment challenges. Therefore, as an educator, we TVET educator per se, we need to somehow balance ourselves, balance ourselves in order to help our student grow rather than penalizing them with objective based assessment and evaluation. Of course, we need objective based examination, objective based assessment. However, the emphasization must come with the process of growing our students to optimize their talents and potentials. Okay. Okay, so the proposed solution to the issue of learning, remote learning, remote learning as well as studying at home, how can we make sure that the student immerse in our creation of learning that we create using the virtual platform? So what does it mean by immersive learning? So immersive learning is definitely a technique that make use of an artificial or simulated environment to which the learners can become completely immersed. So immerse means that the student really into it. The student really put their interest, they put their definitely their motivations of the learning content that we want to contribute to them, that we want to transpire to them. And in order to retain and motivate students and make sure that they enjoy the learning process, the content of the learning that we want to deliver to them, we need to make sure they immerse in our learning process. So we allow learners to control the outcomes, although it is immersive learning environments. When they immerse, means that they really have full control about the learning process. So we give them freedom, however, we control the content. Means that whatever assignments that we give them, it must be filtered by the educator. Okay, so of course, if we teach students as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. I shared the same feeling like Professor Madia Dr. Razali Hassan on previous webinar series. Yes, definitely, whether we are traditionalists, whether we are conventionalists, I think it is fair to say that we need to, slowly progress ourselves to the change of how we deliver our instruction, how we deliver our content knowledge to our students. Okay, so definitely by the famous philosopher Aristotle said that we need to learn by doing. Of course, in Tibet, we need to show students how to do things, how to, for example, how to do soldering. Those kind of knowledge must show in a form of, hands-holding approach. However, in this situation, how can we make sure that the students learn those kind of practical knowledge? Okay, so let's move. I do not know whether my pace is too fast.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. So, okay. So I would like to bring all of you to Dream Zone. Okay. So this is something has to do with you. It is interestingly that this platform is available on website. Okay. You go to secondlife.com. How interesting it is. So we know that we only have one life.
What was the website URL?
From over here, secondlife.com.
Secondlife.com.
Yeah. So the website address is quite controversial. So we need to control our akidah in this form. We know that we only have one life, but in website, secondlife.com, they provide us with another life, which allow us to create our own avatar. Our own avatar means our own image, our own animation. Let's say if you want to be the next Michael Jackson, you can straight away create your own avatar and go to this live. Okay. So
Okay.
it is it's a gateway for you to go to a dream zone that you want. So perhaps I will share you what is the reason of I'm sharing this, because I believe some maybe some individuals are feeling frustration about their real life, and then they decided to go to this platform and creating their own avatar, their own image.
Go ahead, Dr. It's becoming more interesting now.
Okay, good. So let's say if we, but this is a paid subscription plan. So if you want to give a try, go ahead. But the reason why I share this is due to students nowadays, they like to be in a dream zone. They like to spend their time more on on gaming. They like to portray themselves as a different image. We can see that we can watch from social networking. They like to be somebody else. But how can we tweak this into an education environment? So let's say, if you create your own avatar, you want to be the next, next me, Dr. Khaizer, for example, you can go to education and you have your own avatar and act like me. So it will, dream, if you have a dream, so this is a good platform for you. In order, once you get your own avatar, you impose yourself in these environments, so you will get into a new environment where you dream, where I think it will get addicted. You will get addicted definitely, but we need to control ourselves by controlling our own avatar. So okay, I will explain why I share with this. Uh, the reason why we need to create our dream zone is because our generation right now is more of digital native. They like to spend their times playing games. They like to spend their time, most of their time, in social networking, and especially those who are a gamer. We know that games can make money. A gamer can make money, and so they spend a lot of time playing games. They once they play games, they will subscribe in, for example, in a Facebook. They have a different form of making money from games. Therefore, as an educator, especially those who are in the TVET, how can we tweak this into something more meaningful, something more beneficial? Therefore, I think this is a good website. It's a Plotagon. Plotagon is an online platform that help us to create our own world, in the form of creating our own learning content, as well as to ensure that the interaction, the engagement between educator and students will happen. So how can we? The use of Plotagon is a website. You can easily download it from the online. You go to plotagon.com. So yeah, you go to plotagon.com. You can easily download Plotagon for Windows, Plotagon for mobile. Please download the free version first, and then at the moment they do not have the updated version of the iOS for Mac user. So you can go by downloading the Windows version. Okay, so this is the website. Okay. So definitely, when you conduct an assignments that request students to develop their own Plotagon video, it will definitely will increase the excitement. The student will engage. The students will feel immersed within the environments. So you can do this assignment individually or in a group form. So, however, as an educator, we need to make sure this is our important role. Means that uh, to start with the Plotagon video, you need to make sure that the storyboard, creating a storyboard is very significant. It's very important to make sure that the students create the videos according the storyboard that we approve. Okay, we need to make sure that the case study, in a form of case study, storyboard can be created from a case study that we create as an educator. We need to make sure there are elements of learning, the elements of knowledge that we embed in our case study. So we need to ensure that the students analyze the case study, and then we give them freedom in what way they want to represent their videos. So case study like shipwreck scenario, stranded in a lifeboat, for example, left with the box of matches, number of important items, which one is more important for for the survival. This is one of the most popular case study. And if we want to tweak a little bit on our TVET stream, we can somehow start with the safety and accident prevention course. Like, it's very important in workshop, in a lab. How can we ensure that the student always practice safety environments to make sure that there are no injuries happening to our students? So like case study number 2, I just create that it's up to the point that the student death due to fatal injuries, and finally the parents intended to sue your institution. How dangerous, or how big it is, the issue is. So this is the Plotagon video channel. I will show you. Okay, see, if I want to teach you by hands holding, by one, it is impossible. So let's see what this Plotagon is all about.
Doctor, do you have your own channel in YouTube or any platform?
I will share after this. I will share after
Okay.
this. Okay.
Thank you, please. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what can be done using what we can do using Plotagon, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you give this assignment to your student, it's like a fingertips to them because our students nowadays, they like to explore. So you don't have to
Yeah.
worry. As an educator, you need to make sure that the content that you want to deliver to the students, the assignments, the instruction that you give to your students must be authentic and accurate. Means that there is knowledge that they can gather from the process of creating the Plotagon video. So you can go here, the Plotagon YouTube channel. You can, learn how to create your own Plotagon video as simple as, creating the image, the character that you want in your own video. So I'm not going to show you all of this. You can learn by yourself. All right. So
So yeah, Doctor,
yes,
we
please.
we have Dr. Umar here in the house.
Yes,
Hi,
Dr.
Dr.
Omar.
Umar.
Hi, hi. Hi, Dr. Khaizer. I was wondering, so when you're teaching in a situated learning environment, which is very important in TVET, how can we use Plotagon for that?
Okay. Thank you for your question, Dr. Omar. All right. So, as a TVET educator, as an TVET educator, we know that we are, in a tight time, to teach our students, especially on the practical, hands-on approaches. How can we teach students more of technicalities in, during our project in the lab? So, more recently, I taught my students how can you create a video, time-lapse video, for example, how to develop your own product. So don't limit yourself. Let the students be creative and expand the horizon, the opportunities for students to explore. And what we need to do as an educator, we just need to facilitate them. We need to make sure that the knowledge that we give to them is accurate, authentic. Therefore, when you give the assignments to students, if you ask students to come up with a video production of their development, product development, you need to, this is one of the platform. You can choose character to represent the students. I will show you the example after this. But back to your question, of course, a situated learning is something that we, is unavoidable. We need to allow students to learn at their own pace. We need to allow students to explore by themselves. What our role is as an educator, we need to be contactable 24/7 to make sure that whatever question that come, whatever inquiries they need from us, advice, they seek from us, we will be able to entertain them. So, okay, so I'll show you a very basic example. I am mostly when I start my course, my teaching assignments, I would like the students to understand what is safety is all about. So I create a case study related to any accident that is happen. It's commonly happen at the lab environments. So let's have a look. Okay. This is my student's work.
Is it supposed to have sound, Doctor?
Yes. Yeah. Can you hear?
Unfortunately, we can't hear any sound or voice.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah.
cannot hear the sound? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I do not know why. Supposedly, okay.
Hmm. Ada.
Okay.
Ah.
Tak dengar, eh?
Hmm.
Okay, never mind. I will share this later. And these are two examples. In order to create more interactivity in our virtual learning platform. I request my students to participate in the Plotagon project. I create a competition. So I have promised them those who win this competition will receive a reward from me when we meet face to face. Hopefully we can meet face to face in the future. Then this will encourage their motivation to make the video as well as to be more creative, to be more critical, to be more focused on the learning content. So by showing this video to others, definitely will increase the retention of the students to the learning environment.
Okay.
You
So,
know, yeah, please.
Dr. Khaizer, so I have a question. So
Sure.
these are actually group projects that you give students to do,
Exactly.
and you give them a case study for them to explain the safety, occupational safety and hazard. Is it OSHA?
Yes, something has to do with that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how many of them in a group, and how long do they take to do this Plotagon movie?
I separate them into 5 to 6 members in one group. So
Okay.
I allow them to have their own time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not forcing them to complete this video within like 1 week. It is like impossible for them due to other courses that they need to take.
Okay.
But try to give them like 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes the students are very into it. Like again, they are very immersed with the Plotagon video creation. So
Right.
sometimes they spend a longer time because they want to create their own character.
I
So
see.
let's say if they want to make like a bertudung for example kan for Muslimah, they create like themselves. They portray
Ah,
themselves as an image of avatar. So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
let them be creative, let them explore.
All right. So do they show you the storyboard, or do they? I mean, do you go through the content first before you get them to submit the video?
Yes, they provided the storyboard, and I will filter that information that they gave. So the
Ah,
authenticity comes into this practice. As an educator, we need to make sure that the information that they gather from sources, we need to make sure that it is a true knowledge.
yeah.
Is a
Sake lah,
yeah,
sake. Uh-huh.
right.
Okay. All right. That's very good. All right. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, yeah. So what time now? It's okay. I have another perhaps 15 minutes. So before I open for a Q&A session, I just want to share with all of you about the facility that we have at UPM. So why we are so enthusiastic on the online learning, the technology, the educational technology, because we provided this facility to our students. If I may share this video, is it okay, Mr. Moderator?
Yeah. Go ahead,
Okay.
please. Yeah. So what do we call this place, Doctor? Is it a lab or anything, or collaborative classroom?
Okay, this is what we call as a Putra Future Classroom. It's located in UPM, Faculty of Educational Studies. Why do I share this YouTube video? Because I believe by having technology will assist educators to deliver instruction in more meaningful environments. Of course, the talaki should take place. The interaction between teacher and student is significant, is vital. But we know that our core business as an educator, of course, to teach. But by having technology will assist us, especially during this crisis. And those kind of technologies will definitely engage our students with the learning environments. We know that our students easily get attracted to technology. Therefore, why don't we utilize technology to help us to make sure that the learning that we want to deliver to our student is happening. So yeah, I think some sort of sharing about the technology, especially those who are in TVET area, is significant to our learning environment. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's very good. Thanks for sharing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Omar, do you have any more questions? No sound, please. You're muted.
No, I was wondering if you could share how Plotagon can be used in an immersive environment, like, you know, in a mechanical engineering perspective. Yeah, do you have examples of that?
Okay, so at the moment, it is open to educator how deep it is for the
Okay.
content that you want to in order for you to give the student the assignments. So
I see.
let's say if you really want to teach the students of the utilization of mechanical, like a mathematical concept.
Okay.
Maybe if we teach students how to calculate the pressure in a thermodynamic gas, for example. So
Mm-hmm.
if you show, like, using like whiteboard types of chalk and top at the whiteboard, for example, it is kind of it will less attractive to students to learn. But
Mm,
if you create your own avatar and post in the Plotagon and simply show the calculation, how the process takes place using a video, it will be more attractive to students, as well as
I see.
students will get more enthusiastic about learning those kind of calculation.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
Plotagon can be used as a virtual teaching assistant.
exactly, yes, exactly,
Ah,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Doctor. How do you plan or design your materials? Beforehand. What do you consider? Maybe like a step-by-step approach or anything which you consider before you develop any materials on Plotagon.
Sure. Thank you for the question. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at the university, of course, we have our own course synopsis, and sometimes educators are so rigid. They somehow tie themselves with the course synopsis just to make sure that the students learn the whole content in the whole semester. As an educator, we have the privilege which course that you want to start first. And then when it comes to course synopsis, you can somehow predict what content that the students will attract the more. Of course, you need to ensure that, especially in the early of the semester, you need to make sure that you have the rapport with the students. What do I mean by rapport? You build your relationship with students. How can we, build this positive relationship? We use the synopsis that I think it's more of our expert area. So of course, by referring to the synopsis, try to match it with any technology, any software that can come with it. And of course, when you make sure that the content is deliverable in by using a technology, why don't you do that rather than having create like a synchronous, synchronous type of teaching and learning. You will have a less teaching loads, means that you act as a facilitator because you open the opportunities to students to explore. But now the primary responsibility of educator is to make sure that the learning is authentic. So it's true knowledge. Whatever the students produce from their assignments is true. You just need to authenticate that knowledge and try to help them to filter that knowledge so that they can utilize that knowledge when it comes to employment. Okay. Did I answer the question?
Sorry. Okay, thank you. So next question from Mr. Wan Muhammad Rushdi. Before this, I used Powtoons for making videos for learning. What is the main difference between Powtoons and Plotagon?
Okay, I believe I used Powtoon before. I think the most powerful features that come from Plotagon is you have more control of your avatar. You have more control on the environment that you want to put in your video. They have already listed different scenes. They have provided different form of you can even recorded your own sound. You can record your own voice to make a dialogue. So let's say if you want to assign students to develop a Plotagon video for Bahasa Melayu subject, for example, you can ask students to create their own dialogue in Bahasa Melayu. So it will create something that is more interesting, where when you see the avatar speak in Malay accent but in their own American or British accent, that's a kind of humorous types of output that come from this video.
Yeah, that will be very interesting. Yeah.
Right.
So next question from Mr. Sly. Can you just please, if you have, show us a sample of a storyboard on how the students build their Plotagon?
Oh, okay. I do not include the storyboard in my presentation, but the storyboard is just a very simple, kind of what do you want to do in, for example, create by a second. So because every scene has a different timeline, you just create in first 5 seconds, what will be the avatar say? And the next 5 seconds, what will be the scene that will take place in that Plotagon video. So you sometimes students, when I see I did not specifically read the script, but I want to make sure that the knowledge that they want to deliver in the form of Plotagon is accurate. So back to the storyboard, it is up to you as an educator in what form. There are numbers of storyboard creators apps in the website. Some of that, sometimes you just can embed images, pictures, the animation, but this is a very like a raw idea on what will be the content in that Plotagon video. So I do not have the example at the moment.
Thank you, Doctor. Any limitation for the free version, compared to the paid version? Is there any limitation? Is it sufficient for us to use only the free version at the moment?
If you can see the free version that my student download from the Plotagon website, it is good enough for us to deliver the message, the content. So I do not know in the future, maybe if you want to subscribe the plan, it will allow you to explore more on the features, the characters, and perhaps the time they given to create the video. But at the moment, you do not have to make a long video, because it will, unless your story is really, really interesting. But for the purpose of learning, just 3 to 4 minutes is good enough. And as an educator, we need to check almost 13 videos or 14 videos at one time, because I have 80 students in my class, so it will be quite challenging for educators. So it depends on you. If you're willing to pay for the subscription plan, you will have more accessibility to the different features, different characters.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Before we end, maybe one last question from you, Dr. Umar.
Okay. I think from your presentation, Dr. Khaizer, I think for those lecturers who are using case studies in their teaching and learning, I think if they can get authentic case studies from industry or subject matter experts or industry practitioners, maybe they can get those case studies and get students to actually solve their case studies using Plotagon. What do you think?
I do agree with you.
Right.
So most of the time when I ask my students to develop their own storyboard, I
Right.
request them to interview,
Correct.
to
Yes.
interview the employers, interview the potential, managers, anything, lecturers, for example, what would be the problem that you face during your, the process of executing tasks, jobs, especially at the industrial, workplace.
Yeah. Right.
Those will be very, we bring that authentic experience that we learn from others in
Right.
our teaching and learning. Yes.
Yeah, after all, we are preparing our graduates for the world of work. So even during my PhD also, my instructions were problem-centered instructions. So my task was to gain authentic resources, materials, artifacts from the industry experts and practitioners to be included in the lessons. So I think Plotagon, I think that's how, if you're using case studies in your teaching and learning, and I think Plotagon can be a platform, can be used as a platform for students to solve their case studies. I think this is from my point of view, based on your presentation on Plotagon. This is my first time looking at Plotagon, but I think there is potential, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we as an educator, we need to make sure that the students learning what is out there,
Correct.
especially at the industrial environment.
To bridge the gap,
exactly,
between academia and industry. Yeah,
right,
agree.
right. I do
Okay.
agree with you.
Right, thank you, Dr. Omar. Thank you, Dr. Khaizer. Okay, we have come to the end of our session today, this morning. So maybe few last words from you, Dr. Khaizer.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. So when Dr. Umar posted an advertisement about this, opportunity, I am very blessed because I am finally able to contribute to my alma mater over here, Polytechnic Shalam, Polytechnic Omar, as well as community college. They are very close to my heart because when I did my Masters of Science, I conducted a research at community college. I do not know, maybe you still remember my questionnaire delivered to the lecturers. So your participation in my research really, really, appreciated. So, and I would like to take this opportunity to again, to invite you to Putra Future Classroom. We are going to have our next Center for Excellence for Agricultural Education, just a block next to Block I. We are building facilities, infrastructures to make sure that the process of learning, especially in the TVET streamline, it is more happening, it's more prospering for the future of our generation.
Okay, so that's an important message to lecturers who are teaching agriculture cluster in polytechnics and community colleges. Probably they can arrange a field trip, maybe, or a virtual field trip.
Sure,
with the current situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, I would like to advise to all educators out there. In Tibet, we empower learning, lifelong learning. So don't limit yourself. Don't perhaps expand your potential. Reach to the highest level of education journey that you can have. I started with a certificate in mechanical engineering. Back then, Sijil Jentera who knows that I able to complete until the doctorate program. So I
Congratulations, we're very proud of you.
yeah, so that's something that is quite sentimental to me, especially to my lecturers back in Polytechnic Umar, who opened my eyes about the importance of education.
Yeah, thank you. Doctor, I have one last question. Just a quick question.
Sure.
This is from our own Dr. Nana. Okay. It's rather cartoonish in form. So does it appeal to a certain age or group or demography, etc.?
Are you talking about the demographic, the user?
The Plotagon itself,
yeah.
It's cartoonish in form, right?
Yes, sure.
Does it only appeal to a certain age or certain group of students?
No. It is open to any levels of age. And perhaps when I would like to share my experience when presenting a virtual classroom with my class. My kids will sit beside of me and watch together the videos, and it seems that whatever comes in animation will attract anybody, right? So sometimes we want to be out of the norms. We would like to be in a different forms of avatar. For example, the use of avatar will portray ourselves in a different image. So definitely it will attract people, right?
So basically, it's how you design your materials, right?
Yeah,
To appeal to your target group.
exactly.
Okay. So I think that's all the time we have for this morning session. So thank you, Dr. Khaizer. Thank you, Dr. Umar. So we'll
Yeah.
see you again. To the participant, we'll see you again at 10:15. We're gonna have another session at 10:30. Sorry, 10:30 to 11:30, and our evening session will start at 3 o'clock,
3 p.m.
3 to 4 o'clock. So see you guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jumpa lagi.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Thank
Terima
you.
kasih.
Terima kasih.
Sama.